Hello everyone, my name is Henry, co-founder of Design for HK. Today we're going to go through an overview of design thinking and how design thinking can help you with your entrepreneurship journey. So before I talk about what design thinking is and how design thinking can help you with your entrepreneurship, I would like to do an exercise with you. Okay, let's begin. It was my birthday last week and I want you to design me a gift that will make me happy. There's one criteria. It's a gift that cannot be money or a house. Okay, so you can pause the video and think about a gift that will make me happy. All right, let's go. All right, time's up. Now you should have got a gift for me. Thank you very much for designing me this beautiful gift. However, I've got a question for you. Do you think I like this gift? I'm sure the answer is, I'm not sure. And why is that? Why are you not sure what you're designing for me? All right, this is because you don't know anything about me. All right, you don't know about my life, you don't know who I am, you know I call Henry, and that's pretty much it. So if you don't know anything about me, how do you design something good for me? And this kind of unravels the concept of design thinking and how design thinking can help you to create meaningful and good design to the world. And today we're going to talk about how design thinking can help you with your entrepreneurship. All right, now let's look into the design thinking process. I want you to look back into the design me a gift experience that you just did just now. So initially I gave you a challenge on designing me a gift, all right? So what we did was a forward thinking process. Okay, you're trying to design me a gift. However, remember, for good design to come in, you need to empathize with who you're designing for. You need to know who you're exactly working for. All right, so it's the first step is what we call the backwards thinking. All right, you're trying to understand everything about this person's life. So it's a bit like a divergent thinking side of things. All right, you're trying to learn everything about the person you're designing for. And this is what we call the discover phase. All right, you're trying to discover everything about the person's life. So what you could do is interview, you're trying to do observation, you're trying to do some research and learn about everything about this person's life. And what you're trying to find is the problems they're going through, how their daily life is like, and trying to find what kind of things do they need. All right? And this is what we call the discover phase. And an important principle or mindset you need to have in here is what we call the empathy. All right? Empathy is key on every design thinking project. You have to empathize with who you're designing for in this particular stage and learn as much as possible about this person's life. And next, once we learn a lot of things, what do we do with all these learnings? All right, now you're trying to do is to define, all right? You're going to converge down your thinking into something that you want to design for this particular person. So for example, you're defining something that Henry might like, all right? You learn about Henry's life, his problems he's going through. Now you're defining what his needs are. So here is all about defining user needs. You're trying to discuss with your team and share your learnings and see which problems you want to solve as a team. And maybe this is your business opportunity to create innovation. Now you're trying to define some insights for you to create business ideas on. All right, so here we covered what we called the problem space. You're trying to understand the problem, the person you're designing for in every single angle and trying to define some of the needs they want. And once you define the user needs from the problem space, now you're ready to move on to the solution space, all right? Which is the right-hand side of this beautiful design thinking process, all right? On the right-hand side. Now you understand the user needs, we're ready to move on to the solution space. So here again, we're going to go through another divergent thinking here. And here we're developing ideas. All right? And these ideas are trying to solve problems that you identified in the problem space here. Once you define some of the needs, you're trying to develop solutions to uncover these needs, all right? And here you're creating lots of ideas. So what you'll be expecting in your workshop or even your office is you'll use a lot of post-its, a lot of people generating different ideas, and they will come up with really good ideas together, all right? And this is where we call the creative problem-solving side of things. When you're creatively thinking of different ideas to solve the problems, all right? So remember, don't just think about 1 to 2 ideas. Get your team to think about maybe 10, 50, 100 ideas, all right? The more ideas is better at this stage, all right? So now you develop all the ideas, what do you do next, all right? Again, we are converging down into things, all right? We're trying to kind of pick the best ideas and try to see whether we can develop into a better idea in here. So here is kind of the last stage of design thinking. It's what we call the deliver space. All right, when you're trying to deliver your idea. So you might pick 2 to 3 ideas that are really, really good for you to proceed to the next stage. All right, and here, deliver is all about creating prototypes. All right, so prototypes is something that you want to create and test it out with real users. So remember, you design me a gift, but you don't know if I like it or not. So what you could do is to test this idea with me. Henry, I got this gift for you. Do you like it or not? All right. This is the bit when you're trying to test your ideas at an early stage to see whether your idea is valuable for the person you're designing for. So in deliver phase, it's all about creating prototypes and also testing with users. And here is a really, really important mindset is learning from failure. All right. The quicker you fail, the quicker you can learn about the mistakes and the quicker you can make improvement on creating a successful product or service that you're creating. So this is the design thinking process. Let me recap on what we just talked about very quickly. So in design thinking, it's divided into 2 different spaces, problem space and solution space. In the beginning, you want to learn about the user's problem. When you're trying to discover everything about this person's life, you will do a lot of research to recap on what they need. And afterwards, you will sit down with the team, share your learnings, and try to define some of the user needs that needs to be solved. And maybe these are the business opportunities for you to proceed on to the next stage. And now you know what you're doing, what the user needs, and it makes sense for you to start creating solutions to address them. And now you're ready to move on to the solution space, where you're developing lots of ideas to address that issue you identified in the problem space. And once you got that, lots of ideas, you want to pick a few ideas to deliver at the last stage of design thinking. And here you're expecting yourself to create prototypes to test with real users to see that whether your ideas is actually valuable for that person or not. And this is how you create good design and meaningful design to the world that we're serving. All right, so this is what design thinking is. So let's look at some case studies on how the biggest companies in the world adapted design thinking into their practice in order for them to be innovative. Let's look at Disney, for example. Disney hired a bunch of architects to design the beautiful Disneyland they created. But one thing they asked the architects to do is to ask the architect to kneel down when they're designing the Disneyland, all right? Because they want to empathize with the kid. When I'm kneel down, I'm seeing what a kid would see, and that's how they innovate and create meaningful designs for who they're designing for, which are kids. Now think back on your business or your business idea you have. Can you try to empathize with who you're designing for like a Disney architect? So let's look at the second famous design thinking case study. This is an MRI machine that is designed for kids. Have you ever been to an MRI machine before? Does it feel a bit lonely, a bit cold? Are you a bit scared when you go into that machine? And also you have to stay there for 30 to 45 minutes. It's not a joyful experience for people. Imagine this for kids. Kids are very difficult into this situation. They feel very scared or they feel very boring inside that MRI machine. So how do they perform this examination? So what this hospital did was to hire a bunch of designers and try to apply design thinking on how to help them to design a joyful experience for the kids in this MRI machine. So what they did was to empathize with children, trying to understand what their needs are, why they're so scared, and what do they like, for example. And they identified maybe kids like a game, they like some sort of experience in there. What they created was a space shuttle service for kids. So what kids did was to dress up like an astronaut, and then the whole experience is like launching a rocket to the space. And now you go into the space shuttle to get examined and checked. And this is the solution, what they created from empathizing with children. So this is another really great example on how design thinking can help you to create innovation and good designs. So the last case study is my personal case study that I would like to share with you. So I own a company that helps to transform education. But I'm just a young man. I didn't know anything about education at that time. So what I did was empathy, all right? I got into a school and I was pretending to be a primary 4 student for 2 weeks. I was dressing up as them, like uniform. I go to eat with them. I play with them during recess time. I go to the PE lessons with them. I did everything with kids. What I tried to do is to understand how schools is like and how creativity can be applied into their context. So what I did was to empathize with the kid for 2 weeks and try to develop solutions to address what the school needs are. So here is some sort of example on how far you can go to empathize with the person you're designing for. The more you empathize with the person you're designing for, the better you can create the products or services for this person. So I encourage you to think more about the users you're designing for before you come up with great solutions. So this is design thinking. So what we did today was to understand the design thinking process in very simple terms. If you want to learn more about design thinking, so for example, how do you do interviews, how do you do user journey mapping, or come up with great ideas thinking out of the box, stay tuned for the next episode. So thank you very much for listening today. I hope to see you soon again. Goodbye.
Enjoyed it? Please follow our Patreon channel to learn more about international business, entrepreneurship knowledge, latest innovation, and scholars' insights, and even more. See you soon!